Good morning, Coach Kelly here with an encouraging word, and I have a question for you. Are you getting faked out? Are you getting faked out by making seemingly inconsequential decisions on a daily basis that could ultimately lead to disaster in your life? Now, I know that sounds like a heavy question, but it's real and it's valid, and it's inspired by a conversation that I had with one of my very best clients about a week ago. So, Omar and I were just getting started, and in the same way that I start all of my client sections, I'm just looking to reconnect on a personal level. I ask them, how are things in your world? How are things with your family? How are things with your job? Or in his case, his business, because he owns his own company. I'm trying to get a sense for where they are up here and here, which will dictate how hard I push them during the workout. But once that's accomplished, soon to follow, I'm asking the question, what's the best thing that you've done with your nutrition since I've seen you last? I'm looking for bright spots. I'm looking for opportunities to praise and encourage. I am not Coach Hardass. I don't ask my clients, so where have you screwed up with your food the last week, and then give them a hard time about it. I mean, that's not my style. I am Mr. Encouragement. So his response to that was, I'm really trying to be more consistent with the plan that you gave me. I'm trying to be more mindful of my meals. And then he said the magic words. He said, I'm trying to remember that there are consequences for me straying off my plan more than what I'm allowing him to on a weekly basis. And as soon as he said that, I knew that he was finally getting it. He was finally thinking in the way that he needs to continue to think if he's going to reach his goal. And it's a big goal, and I'll share that with you in just a moment. But it reminded me of how many people struggle with decision making, and it's in a very specific set of circumstances that I'm referring to. So you have a choice to make, and you have two options: a positive choice or a positive option, negative option. And in the moment, people get faked out and they choose the negative option because they fail to see the negative ramifications that come down the road afterwards. They make the bad choice. For example, let's say that three of your best friends invite you out to lunch and it's your favorite restaurant. And at this point in your life, and you feel good about that because you know you can make healthy choices. At this point in your life, you are really into your fitness. You're working out multiple days a week. You're really trying to be mindful with your food. You way backed off on the alcohol and the sweets. I mean, you're just trying to be healthy. Unfortunately, your friends are not on that same program. So you get to the restaurant, you go inside, you sit down, and it begins. I mean, they're ordering cocktails and appetizers, and they order the most decadent entrees on the menu. You, on the other hand, you're drinking water. You skip the appetizers. You ordered the healthiest entree on the menu, and you feel good about it. No, by the way, you made the choice before you ever walked in the door that you were not having dessert. I mean, it's the middle of the work week. You have to go back to work. You just didn't need a big, heavy, dessert for lunch, on top of a heavy meal. And so, and again, you're feeling good about it. So, end of the meal, they're clearing away the plates, and you're thinking, it's check time and I'm back to the office. But no, your friends want to see the dessert tray. And so they ask for it, and out it comes. And it is ginormous. And it is loaded with pure decadence, including your all time in the world number one kryptonite cheesecake. And it's a double chocolate, triple layer covered in strawberry stuff. I mean, it just looks amazing. Now, you have two choices. Choice number one, no thank you, I'm good. Choice number two, you give into the cheesecake. So if you go with choice number one, what do you get? What do you literally physically get if you make the right choice? Think about it. You get nothing. Zip, nada, nothing. I mean, nothing. You get to continue sipping on your water because you're not drinking the wine that your buddies are, but that's about it. There's no apparent redeeming value for making the right choice. Now, what happens if you have the cheesecake? Every single bite is an explosion of oral ecstasy in your mouth. I mean, unbelievable until it's gone. I mean, that's the reality. And when it's done, you kind of push your plate back and you're a little more full than you were before. You're still breathing, your heart's still pumping, you're still sitting upright. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any apparent damage to my body, and that's where you're wrong. So let's go back to choice number one. When you made that right choice, what you did is you put another little notch in your discipline belt. You just made yourself stronger up here for the next time down the road that you face similar temptations. And they are coming. By the way, we get bombarded with temptations on a daily basis. But then if you go for the cheesecake, if you give in to that, number one, you broke a commitment. You promised yourself that you were not going to have that cheesecake, and you gave in. So what you did is effectively make yourself weaker up here, and you took away one of those notches from your discipline belt. And that's just in the present moment. That doesn't include the long-term ramifications if you continue to exhibit that kind of faulty thinking. So, for example, Omar, my client, he's trying to lose 50 pounds. He will not mind me sharing that. We shared his goals with the world in a video about a month ago. He's trying to lose 50 pounds. He didn't gain 50 pounds overnight. He gained 50 pounds one meal, one bite at a time. He rationalized one meal, one bite at a time, that this doesn't matter. This won't hurt me. This won't make a difference. Until 50 pounds later, it was making a difference. That's the reality. I don't know, by the way, when you rationalize something, you're telling yourself a rational lie. So effectively, he lied himself to the point of being 50 pounds overweight. Is this kind of sinking in? Am I making my point? So to really hammer this home, I want to share two quick stories. So Tony Gwynn, he played for the San Diego Padres. Now, if you're not a baseball fan and you have no idea who Tony Gwynn is, it doesn't matter. I promise this will resonate. Stick with me. So he was known as one of the purest hitters ever to play the game. Unbelievable. When he finished his career, he was an automatic slam dunk. First time he was available for the Hall of Fame, done, in. I mean, post-baseball, he did some coaching, he did some benevolent work. I mean, he had a very full, rich life until in his early 50s, he was diagnosed with salivary gland cancer. And then a few short years later, he was gone. How sad. That really resonates with me because he passed away at a younger age than what I am. So let's pause the tapes and wind back. What happened? About the same time that he started playing pro ball, he started chewing tobacco. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, he chewed tobacco with seemingly no negative consequences until the C word showed up, and then it was too late. I mean, he paid the ultimate price for a daily habit that was just seemed like nothing until it caught up with him. Now, my story is not as dramatic as that, but it still cost me a lot. So I started lifting at 15. Prior to that, my diet was not great, and I used to drink regular soft drinks. So when I turned 15, I started lifting. I switched to diet. Now, I don't recommend diet soft drinks to my clients today, nor do I drink them myself. This was a long time ago. I'm just being real with you. But I switched to diet. And then once I got my driver's license at 16, I had to start going to buy gas for my car. And I discovered that I had sort of a fetish for buying the biggest drink that they had in the store, diet, and chewing all of the ice. Now, this was an occasional thing in the beginning because how often do you need to buy gas in little podunk East Texas town that I grew up in? So that lasted for the next few years. Junior year in college. So I grew up working on my hometown's little country club golf course. I worked out there for about 6 years. I mowed everything that you can mow on a golf course. But in my junior year, beginning of my junior year, the general manager, I was out mowing by the pool. GM comes out and says, "Hey, how'd you like to come work with me inside the clubhouse and be my head bartender?" She said, "It's cooler, you'll make more money, and there's girls, there's waitresses." I was like, sign me up. And that was a good deal. And I had all of the Diet Coke a man could ever want because I worked 4 to 5 shifts a week, all the Diet Coke and ice for free. And that just fueled my addiction. Good grief. So by the time I graduated from college, at the height of my insanity, addiction, insanity, semantics, when I got into sales, on average, on a daily basis, 2 to 3, maybe more, just being honest with you, 32 to 44 ounce large soft drinks a day, and I chewed every lick of ice. I did that all through my 20s, all through my 30s, into my early 40s, and it was a routine cleaning at my dentist office. And you know how the hygienist does her thing, and then the dentist comes in and he asked me, "What are you doing with your teeth?" Like, "What do you mean?" He said, "What are you chewing on? I mean, are you chewing hard candy? Are you chewing nuts? Are you chewing your pins? I mean, what are you doing?" I said, "Doctor, what are you talking about?" He said, "Your teeth are like chipping off all over." Really? He said, "Yeah." We couldn't figure it out. So that was cleaning number 1, or that's when we first identified it. It would take another 2. It was a year down the road that we put 2 and 2 together, and that it was my ice chewing. He's like, "You have to stop that immediately. You will destroy your teeth. Do you see what I'm driving?" He drives a really nice car. "Part of that is funded by idiots like you chewing ice." He said, "You will destroy your teeth." I never, after that conversation, chewed another piece of ice. I promise you. I mean, I stopped cold turkey. 6 months down the road, next appointment, teeth are still chipping away. It didn't stop. I had apparently set in motion a chain reaction of negative that wasn't going to stop. And that was the conversation. He said, look, if this doesn't stop, at some point we're going to have to do one of two things: implants, veneers. And he said, and he described the whole implant process. For some of you, this may resonate. And Daniel, it's bad enough if you're having one tooth. Several of my clients and a family member are going through that process right now, and it's like a nightmare, and that's just one. He said, you don't want to do your whole mouth. That would alter your jaw structure. That would be a really bad, it's very invasive. Like, no, 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 we don't want to do that. He said, you'll look like a different person. What about those veneer things, Doc? He said, well, you'll have a really nice smile, but they're expensive. Like, how expensive, Doc? He said, let me have my office manager work up a quote. He didn't want me to pass out in the exam room. So we finish up there, go out to the front. 5 minutes later, she hands me a piece of paper, $36,500. And then I passed out in the lobby. Kidding, but almost. Are you kidding me? $36,500? So if you're at a crown, you know they're kind of expensive. So imagine doing your whole mouth. That's what I did. He said, you don't have to do it today. I'll give you like a year to 2 years. It just depends on how fast this continues. But at some point, you're going to have to pull the trigger, because I'm not going to have enough teeth, your natural teeth, to work with to put the veneers or crowns on. And so I don't remember exactly how long it was. It was another year or so, which was a blessing because I was able to save some money. So when he finally gave me the go, I popped down $20K in cash. Thank you, Care Credit. I paid out the balance over 2 years. Didn't pay a dime of interest. I mean, that just leveraged not having to pull all the money out of my savings. 36.5. I mean, what do you do with $36,500? That's a new car. That's a chunk of your kid's education in college. That's some kick butt vacations or upgrades to your home or down payment on. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with 36.5. But me, I had to buy new teeth because I was an idiot when I was a younger man and didn't know any better. So, what about you? How are you getting faked out? Are you getting faked out? So my goal in all my messages is always to offer a word of encouragement. And my encouragement to you today is do an inventory of your life. Look at your relationships with your family and your friends. Look at your career. Look at your finances. Look at your health and fitness. Look at the daily and or frequent activities that you're taking part in, and maybe with a different, hopefully, with a different perspective, a more long-term perspective, not just looking in the moment, but what can this lead to down the road based on what I've shared. And if I can save you any of the pain and suffering that I've gone through, or heaven forbid what Tony went through, my mission will be accomplished with this message. I hope this helps. Have a great day. I look forward to sharing with you again soon.